What's up, everybody? Sound check real quick, just seeing if my sound works for you guys. And it works great. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I have a special Monday special night going on tonight, and that is simply because I needed to do this, because I wanted to have somebody here today that is already backstage. And without further ado, it's the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. OriginalDoBo.
What's going on, man?
What's up, my man? I appreciate you coming. I'm totally stoked. I'm totally I don't know what to say.
I appreciate making the concession to stream today. I know you don't normally stream.
Yeah, I don't. It's just if I asked you and you just simply say, hey,
Yeah.
let's do this, and then you said Monday, Tuesday, this is great. So I took off from work and I was like, let's do this.
Sweet. Well, I appreciate you doing it, man. Like I said, I don't normally stream on Mondays. I used to a long time ago, but it's a good day to stream.
Yeah. So I know that you on Wednesday you don't have drone brews.
No, just taking a breather. Yeah, just taking a breather from it. I'm filming stuff for an upcoming release, so just trying to get all my ducks in a row for everything going on this week. So I figured take time, prep. It's nice just not to have anything going on, you know.
Yeah, it is. It is. All I had going on this morning was just simply create my new intro for this live stream.
Nice
and I have something else that I needed to get off my chest, because I remember when you gave me the filters and stuff, we made a deal that I send you beer and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent it 3 times. So the first box came back and it was broken.
Yeah.
The second box came back, it was opened up, and it was there was a note from USPS that said that I'm not allowed to send alcohol. And
but
the
they sent
third
it back
box,
to you. That's funny.
yeah. So and then the third box that I sent out, the tracking number ended up somewhere in Portland, Oregon, and it didn't go anywhere. So USPS pretty much like paid for my shipping.
Shit.
So I am proud to. I'm confused. I have 2 screens going at the same time. So I have something for you over here that I would like to play for everybody to see, and I'll just do it.
All right.
I wanted to buy the filters from you guys, and I had it all set up, but bills came up and I needed to pay those, so I had to retract the money. I gotta wait until I buy the ND filters. Unfortunately,
So
but
how about I'll send you a set of ND filters out to Hawaii.
Yeah, as soon like I said,
No, I will send you. I will send you a set of ND filters. Like, don't pay for them. I will send them out to you. For being on the show tonight and taking time out of your day, I will give you the ND filters. I've got like 5 sets here, so I'll send you the set of ND filters. Just when we're done, shoot me an email with the address, and I'll make sure Zach. I'll give him the filters I have here to send out to you directly.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah. I don't have a swag bag to give, and you got the Jim Beam, so we'll get you some ND filters because it does make a difference. I think the biggest thing that I found was having ND filters with the Evo 2 to control that exposure in the shutter. It did help, at least for the stutter, because anytime you start filming in 6K, I hate to say it, these SD cards,
There you go, my man. This is yours right here. I made this for you. You will be able to hang that up wherever you want. And
oh man,
I guarantee you that USPS is not going to send this back.
Dude, that's awesome, dude. Dude, you got me sort of tearing up, man.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm like I said, we're Hawaiians. We don't forget, bro.
Dude, that is very, very awesome. I've never been given anything like that, man.
Yeah, so that's why I follow you on Facebook, and I seen the other day you was very frustrated because you was helping out, and I guess you got backstabbed or whatever. Long story short, I just sent you back, and I told you, stay original, stay yourself, don't forget, because it's simply who you are.
That, man.
I watched you the other day too, giving away an Autel Evo 2 to Bot Grinder, which was freaking awesome, and he was like all like bum out. So you do a lot for the community, and it's the same when I bought these battery covers. I had to get more because I got the battery covers from you, and I ordered more. And my wife just sent me a picture, and she told me that that you sent another package already, so it is here already, and which includes also for the goggles, the I guess the clip for the battery. So yeah, I needed to get that off my chest. So
bro, that thing's amazing looking, dude. So mahalo and cheers, man. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, how did you even start making YouTube? I mean, I was always interested in. I watched pretty much like all your episodes throughout the time, and I always asked myself like, what made Dobo make Dobo?
I get composure here after that whole deal. It was one of those things where I think everybody like starts where you start following somebody else, right? And it was back in 2012. I got really into like Android phones and the ROMs and everything. And at the time, all that there was like XDA and RootsWiki and just like forums. Like forums ruled the world back in the day. And people would not understand the instructions on how to do things. Like, how do I install this? How do I flash this ROM? What does it look like? How does it run? So I thought to myself, well, I'll just do videos about ROMs. And at the time, there was like a couple of larger creators like Droid Modder X and Zetomax, great guys. And they did something similar. So I started doing videos about phones. And I was going pretty hard. Like for a couple of years, I was doing quite a few videos, and I didn't have good cameras. I used webcams. Like I would set a webcam up with, I think it was like a Hello Kitty tripod. It was my daughter's Hello Kitty tripod. And I would set it up just so I can show the phone screen. I didn't really organize it, or, we didn't know about 1080p back then. 4K was like, we didn't even hear of that. So that's how it sort of started. And then in 2012, I think it was October. Yeah, I think it was just a little bit before October. We ended up getting robbed, and like they stole everything. They stole my computer, my like the webcam, everything, like all of our stuff. So I didn't make videos. Yeah. So there was like a good year where we were trying to move and trying to get stuff figured out, where I didn't make any videos. I didn't do anything. I started making videos again. And then when I started making videos again, it was phones. And I started doing like how-to videos on Chrome OS, which and that was the first time I ever knew anything about like monetization. Was YouTube hit me up and they're like, you have like $700 sitting here like, you know, in your account, you have to add your bank account. And I was like, oh, I didn't know this exists. So, and then it was like a year after that, I picked up, my wife bought me a Parrot Bebop for Christmas. And then like, it was getting that drone that I was like, holy shit, this is fun.
So that's your first drone was a Parrot.
Parrot. Yeah. Parrot was my first drone.
Wow. Yeah. My drone was a Parrot Anafi.
Second drone was a Unique Breeze. That was the old one. And then I got a Phantom 3 standard. And then I bought the Evo, or not the Evo. I bought the Autel. God, I can't even think of it. Autel's first drone. Can't even. I have it in brain fart right now. But they only made a few of them. I got the white version of the X-Star. It was like Amazon had a sale on the X-Stars, and I bought it, and I thought it was an amazing drone. It was an amazing drone, and that sort of just you know, I started making videos pretty regularly after that point.
Yeah, I see. I mean, you do real estate, you do your drone shop, you do your videos, and I mean, you regularly pop out stuff. It's like literally like every 2 days, 3 days, something pops up at least.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing to put out that much content. You know, I never know what the perception is of my audience. Do they want more content? Do they not want more content? So it's trying to find like a good balance of, well, do I put a video out or do I go like 2 weeks and not put a video out? Obviously, when there's new releases, everybody's cranking out crazy content, but that can get stagnant and bored, especially for those guys that didn't buy the new product.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just hard trying to find that right, you know, balance between the two. Like, what do you do? You know, some audiences like a video once a week, twice a week. I'm the exact opposite. Like, my favorite vloggers, like I watch poker vloggers, and man, if they could put out an episode every day, I'd watch it every day, because that to me saves me money, I guess. Yeah. But, you know, that's just me. I like to watch, you know, sit down and watch those videos.
Yeah. So your real estate is that your main job, the Apex Imagery?
No,
or
I am during the day, I'm a software engineer for a company. And then when I'm not doing software engineering, I work doing the real estate photography. That's sort of like my part-time gig. And then when I'm not doing that, I have YouTube and like everything else.
Look who's here. Do you see that? Look who's here.
I don't recognize that guy. Oh, wait. No, that's Paul. That's an old photo. That's an old photo.
Yeah. So I just I talked to my wife, and I told her about it, like that I wanted to do this live stream special. And then she was like, at first, like when I first started watching you, she was like, who are you watching? And I was like, oh, this guy, his name is OriginalDoBo. So I never referred to you as Ken. And then after a while, I bought the Parrot Anafi, and then I kept going ranting on about all these other drones. And then the V-Copter came up, and I was like, he hates that thing because she brought it up, you know. And then she said, oh, what does your original guy say about it? And I was like, he hates it, honey. Like, he totally hates it. And then she was like, he hates it. And she's like, it looks so cool. I say, yeah, but it's totally non-practical. And it's like, when he went there for a look at it, they didn't let him fly it, and it's total rubbish. And then afterwards, me and her went through a lot to get to that Autel Evo 2 part, because it's a lot of money for me.
Oh yeah, and that's an expensive drone.
Yeah, and I worked very long, almost a year, very hard to just get it all together. Sure. And then when I did, then I told her, I said, oh, I'm going to call up OriginalDoBo's shop, and I'm going to order it from there. And I did. And then Zachwin hooked me up, and then it came together with that whole GPC case and everything, and one extra battery and that whole rugged bundle deal. And then she said, as soon as I got the thing, she said, you're not going to buy another drone for 20 years. And you're not going to watch OriginalDoBo.
Can't put that evil on me.
I know. And then I told her, I said, how do you say it's not his fault? He's just throwing it out there. But it's based on how I started my YouTube was different. I followed an influencer, and the product that he advertised was total scrap. And I wasted my $600 on it. I was disappointed. And that's how I started making YouTube. And that's how I got more serious about it as soon as the Autel came out. And that's when I realized I'm totally into drones. Like, I don't want to do anything else.
It's a fun hobby, and it's cool to meet the people. Like, you know, I'll go to these events, and you know, you get to meet the people that watch your show. and watch the channel, and you fly with them, and it's just really cool because there's just all like-minded people in one spot.
Yeah, I know. I
which
never
is
met that
amazing.
many people that actually knew anything about drones, because I here in Hawaii, like Big Island especially, once in a while you see one dude who has a
Sure.
drone, and back then I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? I didn't even have the Paradigm Alpha yet, and I was thinking to myself after I got into that whole idea of getting me a drone. We just had the lava outbreak, and my sky was like bright red every night for months because the lava flow was so huge.
Oh man.
And we only live like 10 miles away from it, so we could smell it, we could hear it, we could, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, this would be great if I would have had a drone at that time. And nowadays it's like, I'm glad I didn't have one, because I go everywhere with this drone and I do all kinds of stuff with it, and I'm trying to be close. And then I heard afterwards there were restrictions and people got arrested, and the drone community is actually pretty big over here on the Big Island. It's amazing. So one of these days, hopefully I'm gonna make it out there to meet other people like Sean and you and Billy and all of these crazy people like Flight Path and Dad Random. There's so many people that I met through this. It's crazy. It's so much fun.
it was cool before COVID and everything. Like when CES was a great time to see all these guys. I would run into Audrey, at least once every CES. And so many other guys when we would go to the events at the like they would have like after show events, and you would get a chance to meet a lot of these people. People I've watched, and I never got a chance to interact with them until then. But now, and then when COVID hit, obviously weren't really seeing anybody. So I will, full disclosure, I mean, I did a fair amount of traveling throughout this entire pandemic. If I would be lying if I said I felt bad. I don't, because one day I'm gonna die. So I'm all throttle, no break.
Yeah.
And I won't make apologies for that. But I mean, I got a lot accomplished, and I got to meet still a lot of people this year.
I guess you had an affair with Paul. Is that correct?
An affair with Paul?
Yeah.
No affairs with Paul.
Yeah, you had a secret affair with him. That's what his wife thought.
Oh, when it would be the worst affair ever. I never get to see the guy.
So I'm gonna address the chat real quick. We have so many guys in there. Copy Jim. We have Mike Miller, Pyro, Kovacation. I mean, there's so many. Brad Barry, I've seen in here. I've seen Jake's Drone Life, Jeffrey, all these great people. Gringo Loco. I know they always show up on my live streams. My live streams have been going from like 2 to 3 people to like 20, and it's great just to conversate with them over the chat. And then when I have a guest and stuff, then I keep missing on approaching the chat.
Yeah, so it happens, man. It's hard, a lot of times when I have a guest on or something, I don't want to pay attention to the chat necessarily, but I don't want to ignore it either.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things you got to have a good balance.
That's why you have a co-host, I think.
Yeah, but he falls asleep half the time, so there's that. So that gets difficult. But you want to make sure that you're keeping your show moving forward. So sometimes I just sort of ignore the chat altogether.
So you have been going pretty hard towards the FPV section, and I see you pump out a lot of FPV stuff. And at first I was like, oh my god, this looks so great, this looks so much like fun. Then I was like looking into building stuff in 5-inch and 7-inch and micro and all these cool things, and my wife was just giving me the rolling eyes. And then the tax return came in, and just so happened like a week later, DJI released the FPV drone, and I was like, how much more freaking easy can it get, to get to FPV?
Dude, very easy. Very easy.
And I was like, okay, let's do this, honey. And she goes, are you following OriginalDoBo's advice again to Peter? He didn't say anything about it. I told her he didn't say anything about it. There's no videos out about that. There's only these leaks, and it seems to be a DJI
that wasn't on me, man.
These days. Yeah, I know.
That was not on me. When I heard you were considering one, just full disclosure, because she'll watch this back. I said nothing to you about buying that drone. You did that on your own accord.
Yeah, I did.
That's all you.
I totally did. And there was like, it seems to be a new tradition for DJI just to early leak footage of unboxing videos and stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand. I didn't watch any of them. Like the Mavic Air 2S videos. My thing is, like, here's the thing I get so pissed with. If you're going to get a shot to get one of these early, right? If you're going to get a shot to get one of these earlys, I don't give a shit if you've never filmed a YouTube video before. Go out, buy a damn camera, and film that shit right. There is no excuse for a shitty video. Film that shit right. Film
with an
right,
iPhone.
Like, don't do it. Don't do it just to get it out. Like,
yeah.
I was watching your FPV video, matter of fact, where you let the guy fly it. What camera were you using for your main camera?
The same that I'm using right now. I only have one camera. It's
which one is it? It's the A6400.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate the fact that it's Sony, but it was looking good, man. It was looking good, brother.
Thank you.
It was looking good.
Yeah. So I just actually finished filming. Where did I put it? I put the 1-inch Insta360 on top.
Okay.
And I flew it, and I haven't looked at the footage yet, but I totally dig the way, because I folded it. I flew it in sport at first because I figured it's gonna level itself better, because the Insta360 1-inch, that thing is heavy, man. And I was like, okay, and she sounded way different. The propellers and stuff, the motors was like, wow, they were like screaming and yelling, and I was like, should I go in manual with this? So I went up like 80 feet up into the air, and then I went into manual, and it just makes it a little bit more heavy, like late responding because when you turn and stuff. The funny part is when you make a roll, she makes like an oval roll now with that camera on top. She's like, yeah.
I don't do that. I don't even roll with it. Like when I'm flying with the camera on top, when I put the Hero 8 on top, I know I'm filming like cinematic. So I'm not like, I have to pre-plan. But I filmed today with it, and I just did a couple of like passes, seeing how real steady worked with it, and no issues with it. So
yeah, it looks great. I mean, even when you put it on the last time and you went like in between the trees and stuff, I'm not at that level yet. So mine's one is pretty much all cinematic. I changed like coastlines, and the other day I was like, I think a half foot away from a wave that just picked up, and I was like, and then I ripped it back up, and I had like all, the whitewash spray all over my lens, and I brought it back in, and then I sprayed it all off, and I used the air blower to blow out the motors and stuff.
I got that thing so close to my brother's boat the other day. Like it was soaking wet when I got it back, and it was fine. Like I was getting the blowback from his motor, and it was totally fine. And I'm trying, like we were doing like 60 miles an hour, and my goggles started blowing off my head. And I asked my buddy, I said, keep my goggles on my head, push my goggles back down. What does he do? He pulls them off my head. I'm like, no, I'm flipping it. I flip the drone up into sport mode and go sky high with it. I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you do that, dude?
Wow.
I was like, and I'm yelling at my brother, stop the boat. Because like I'm getting IMU errors, and just like, I'm thinking, oh man, I just lost this thing. It's gone.
I have no care refresh for this, because I just would not be, once I crash it, I'm not going to be able to pick up another one. Even with care refresh, it's just too much money. And so I was like, oh my God. So I'm like super careful with it. So today when I did the roll, I was like 200 feet up in the air just to see how she feels with that roll.
Yeah.
And it was really like, oh, well, I only did one roll. I don't really like doing rolls either, because it makes me dizzy.
No, it's not really. So. It's like people say, oh yeah, it's for that. It's not, but it's more. It's honestly really more like for that cinematic flight. I know people aren't really happy with the stabilization on it. But for me, I've sort of become pretty gingerly on the sticks. Stabilization starts with how you are on the stick, right?
Yeah.
So you want a smoother flight, it's all about how you fly. Like whether it has good EIS or bad EIS, it's all dependent on how you fly as a person. And I don't really have an issue with it. I can get some pretty juicy, looking flight out of it, which I think is actually a little bit easier for me to get this, tick-tocking and doing what I want it to do than it is on some of my other quads. Which is sort of ironic, but I mean, I've always gotten some pretty solid footage. I know that DJI is got an update that they're sitting on, and I think we'll see that update once the Mavic Air 2S is launched, because then they can release the new application. We should have telemetry now for the app, and we'll see a software update finally for that. But I think they've been holding it back until this release. So Friday.
So the 2S, is it going to be controller wise, or is it just that motion controller? What is
there'll be an RC. There'll be an RC for it. I mean, it's basically Mavic Air 2, just a little more hopped up,
So it's like sport mode Because I heard that
Yeah.
it's like FPV thing, whatever. But
Well,
I can't see it to make flips and stuff. I don't know.
no, it's not going to flip, but I believe what it will allow you to do is fly with the goggles. You'll be able to fly with the goggles. You're not going to be able to put it in manual mode, but you'll be able to fly in sport mode and normal mode with the goggles if that's your cup of tea now. OcuSync 3 is amazing. And
yeah, it's pretty good.
It really does a good job, I think, with latency and overall transmission signal. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, totally dig it.
To see.
So what's your future plans? Like, what do you have planned?
You know, I'm honestly, I'm leaning heavily towards the whole FPV scene. For me, I like going to these like new spots and fly. I like the fact that with FPV, you can make something that you wouldn't normally fly with a GPS drone interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't take a GPS drone and go to a building and fly it because nobody wants to see that unless if it's like a skyscraper. But with an FPV drone, you take it there and you're going in and out and weaving in and out of things. And all of a sudden now it's sort of, it's art. So, you know, for me, I'm going to lean more towards like the FPV side. I'm still going to do the GPS stuff, but it's not going to be as prevalent as it was before. I'm going to lean more towards the FPV side because that's what makes me happy. I always think of it as like, I got to do whatever is going to make me happy. And if that's what makes me happy, that's which way we're going to go.
I have to say it, but that whole FPV thing over here with this one alone, like flying this, I regret that I don't have more money for my batteries because I have 3 batteries and it's not enough.
Yeah, I found like 3 batteries pretty good. Like what I did was, you know, that backpack I have, I'll plug my charger into the bag. I plug it into the bag. So when I get one battery off, I plug that battery in. And with those batteries, I trust that I don't have to sit there and babysit them very much. So I'm charging a set of batteries as soon as I'm taking it off the drone. So I'm always keeping something charged, which
I've seen that. I've seen that backpack. I've seen that new backpack that you have.
Oh man, it's
and
so
it's like
clutch.
super cool. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out a way to tell my wife that I want that backpack without bringing up your name.
Yeah, don't even bring me up in that, man. Don't even bring me up in that. Don't even bring me up in that.
So I hope that she'll agree somehow to it. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Don't bring me up in that conversation. I don't want that. I don't want that. I could just see it. Should be like.
Yeah, it was funny too because your notification for that video popped up, and I was looking at it. I was like, "Oh, this looks interesting. Let's check it out." And then at first I thought it was just another backpack, but then it had power and it had this battery in there and it had these power plugs. And you said it yourself, it's not necessarily made for drones, but you made it your own for drones. You made it work, you know?
You know, it is. There's all these pockets. And I mean, I could even put a drone in the front pocket and put whatever I want inside the bag. I mean, if it really came down to it, I could make it work for FPV. People were like, well, why don't you just sew your own, you know, clips on there? I could do that, but I don't know how to freaking sew. I'm not a seamstress. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not my cup of tea. That's not my forte to do that. I mean, I could essentially make something work for it, but would it be perfect? Probably not. So I don't know.
Okay. Jake just asked right here, how long should he wait to charge the batteries for the FPV drone?
Honestly, I charge them like directly after. I don't give a shit.
I mean, mine's on was hot and I plugged it into this triple charger thing that I have here.
It'll wait sometimes till it cools down.
It waited on its own for like 5 minutes and then it started charging it.
These batteries know when they're at a certain temperature and they'll automatically cool down. I mean, I'm pretty abusive on my stuff because at the end of the day, like if it's gonna get in the way of me getting a shot, I don't want it. Like if anything hinders me from getting a shot, I don't want it. I'll get rid of it because then it's no longer a tool for me. I don't want it. But like with batteries, I mean, even with the Mavic, I would get done flying and I'm slamming them on the charger because I knew, hey, I got to get to this next spot. I got to get these son of bitches charged. So
the one thing that I wanted to ask you was when I watch when I followed up through your old videos, because I pretty much got into you like a little bit before that whole Autel stuff where you was like questioning when they're going to bring it out and they shouldn't have announced it and stuff. And I like your brutal honesty and your own opinion in it. You know, I totally love it. I dig it. So I watched through all the other stuff. My question for you was pretty much like, how do you come up with your content? What makes you tick on a certain part that you say, this is the video that I'm going to make right now, and I'm going to upload it just for the hell of it.
I think I'm just
How do you
triggered
get there?
easily. I think I'm just triggered easily by things. Like, and I'm the type of person that if I'm thinking something, it's coming out. Like if I think of something, it's coming out. Like one way or another, I'm gonna put it out there. So for me, I'll sit there and jot something out. Like I'll just be sitting there and something will bother me. I'm like, I gotta talk about this, and I'll write it down. You know, throughout the day, I'll just like pause. I'll be in Walmart, whatever, wherever. I'll be on a shoot at a house. I'm like, that's a great idea. I'll just pause what I'm doing and just jot it down. So, I mean, sometimes I look at what's happening. Like you talk about the things that matter most to you, right? Your content, you know, content starts and happens best when you talk about the things that matter most to you. Because when you think about when you're putting, you know, let's say work out there, right? There's probably so many other people that think a lot like you, and probably those same things matter to them that matter to you. So you just take a stab at it. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it's just a swing and a miss. And then sometimes, you know, you'll put a video out and it's just like it's like a slow burning video. But sometimes those are the best because they, you know, they're the best over the long haul of things.
Yeah,
Maybe not
mine's one is like as soon as I pop out a video, it's the only expectations that I have is within the first 24 hours to get at least 100 views. And
that's all you can ever really ask for.
yeah, and that's pretty much all it is. If it doesn't hit that, then I know that subject wasn't really great. You know, it didn't come across good, or it wasn't the right thing to do. So from there, I'll just, as soon as that is done, the first 24 is pretty much what decides for me. Just move on to the next thing, and that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good philosophy to bear in mind. I mean, I'm the same way with this stuff. I'll put a video out like today's video. That's not lighting the world on fire, but it's a new product, and as people go to search for that video will be there when that product, I guess, is searchable. Right now, it's not searchable, so nobody gives a shit about it, type of thing. But it'll happen eventually.
United State, man, the battle to convince the wife to let me buy stuff. I'm trying to keep knocking out YouTube videos and hope that the hobby pays for itself so I don't have to ask anymore. That is Paul for you, my friend. I think he's trying to tell you something.
No, I stopped asking my wife for permission. Like I am probably the biggest asshole in my house because I don't care. I told her a long time ago, anything I do that I feel, if I feel like I'm going to be successful with it, let me do it. Don't question me when I know I'm like, if I see something, I have a vision, don't get in my way because I'm going to see it through. Like, I mean, I got to see it through.
Yeah, I had, mine's one was pretty much my wife. I was a very compulsive guy back then with the motorcycles. So I got in a lot of trouble. So
those are $20,000 compulsions.
Yeah, well, the motorcycles, it was more like what I did with it, you know. So that's pretty much what it was. And if it wouldn't have been for her, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So it's pretty much not. I'm not really asking for permission. I'm just asking for input.
I always say I just ask for forgiveness later. But you know, a lot of times with YouTube, it's a gamble, right? One thing I don't like to do is that I don't like to put myself in debt for YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people do that. They'll buy all this stuff and try to keep up with the Joneses. And the reality is you don't have to do that because the problem with product videos in general, like we talk about a drone, is that they have a shelf life.
Yeah.
How long is that video? How long is that product going to be relevant for? So what I find that works really well is honestly, whether you do vlogs, like vlog style videos using your product in a video showcasing how it's still relevant, or tutorials work really well at, it doesn't cost you anything and those videos last forever. Right.
Yeah.
So those are things that I love to do.
That's why I do like the footage wise. I just sometimes slam the footage together. Like you had your Friday night flights and stuff.
Yeah.
And
that was a fun time doing that too.
Yeah. And it's freaking amazing. Just now this one became more as of a tool. And I told her that too, that it's going to be more of a tool because it can do movements and it can describe, like you said, you can go to a building, but you can't film the building the way you film it with this, you know, like the way you go around it sideways and the way she turns.
vantage point.
Yeah, and I like the style that people develop. Like you have your own style. Mr. Steele has his own style. Nurk has his own style. I developing my own style, and I'm like literally like 3 weeks into this, and I'm already balls to the walls, going 90 miles an hour, chasing waves. And I'm like, I caught myself the other day. I was like, I seen a bird, and I started chasing it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think the more you start flying, you figure out like how you want your footage to look, right? So, I mean, I'm not with like the whole like I love Steele's videos, but like sometimes I'm like, oh man, all right, I got to sit down watching this. I can't even stand walking because I'm gonna get dizzy. What was that? 3D printers were going. So sometimes I have to like sit down when I watch his stuff. But like for me, I like the flow style videos, like when shots connect. Like so for me, Drew's videos, Ladrib's videos really connect well. He's got an amazing style, and there's a couple of other pilots that have that like that really connected style. And to me, that looks amazing.
Yeah,
looks the best.
One of the best guys that I've seen. I think everybody knows him is Sam Calder. I mean, he connects.
His videos are great too.
Yeah, FPV with GPS, like in a way.
Yep.
I think his transitions make a lot of difference in it. You know, like he flies through like the tent, and then he does like that masking and just the connection, how it comes together with the special effects of the clouds coming through. It's once you get to know how to do those things because you're doing your own editing, then you see what he did, and even that is still amazing. You know what I mean? It's like
sometimes it's the flight that makes the video, and then sometimes it's what you're doing in post that makes the videos. I think sometimes it's pretty cool to have both. Like sometimes I'll know if I just ruined a run or something, I'll add like a roll, and then I know that when I start my next video, I have to add a roll when I start, so that way I can transition to the new spot. So mentally, you have to say, okay, I got to pre-plan these rolls so I can transition. But that's the cool thing, like with FPV, you can create your own transitions from segment to segment, so you don't have to have like a continuous shot. Although continuous is cool, it's often hard to do.
Keep up, keep up the whole thing. You know,
where you feel like it's amazing.
Yeah. So it's because sometimes you just have that one moment where you don't commit, and then you just slide off and you try go off. But if anybody else who's flying knows that you didn't commit, for some reason they know because of the jerky stick movement at that point, or just the way you turned off, you know, he wanted to go through there, he just didn't commit, you know, and that commitment. So that's why it's so hard to keep like that continuous flight up. So I totally see what you mean.
I like that style of flight. I think it's going to catch on more and more. You know, we're already seeing it, you know, in Hollywood, and we're seeing, you know, like the bowling alley videos, prime example, which is honestly, I know people were like, oh my god,
well, it's a cine whoop, and you see a lot of guys doing stuff like that with cine whoop.
Those videos are dime a dozen, I think, but they're out there. And I'm not discounting that flight, but when you're in the groups, you see hundreds of similar fights that are just, holy shit, that was amazing.
Yeah,
they're just there. It's just, you know, that's going to be the new norm. Like when people start thinking about drones, is you know, everybody thinks we go really high, but that's actually wrong. Like we're going the length of buildings, you know, at the ground level, you know, sheltered almost. So
one thing that was burning for me was FPV, since it's so self-built and all that stuff. How you think you guys going to adapt with remote ID?
I think it'll ultimately be fine. I think, you know, one of the things that everybody has to keep in mind is that nothing's finalized right now. They're still trying to figure all that stuff out. And we got to see what happens with the technology, right? You know, 2 years, 3 years from now, technology is going to be entirely different. And if they require a remote ID module of whatever type it is at that point, I think it will be conducive. I think, you know, if DJI is still building air units and things like that, who's to say that they couldn't build a receiver or transmitter into their air units, essentially, right? I mean, that's very possible. Or another company comes along and says, hey, well, we can do that. I'm always just of the assumption that I will wait and see. I'm not going to panic right now. I'm going to fly right now and let the companies figure it out. And if I have to adapt things, I'll adapt things at that time. That's where I'm at with it.
besides FPV and besides this whole FPV, this controversial drone that came out and everybody knows now what it's for, what are drones that you're actually looking forward for in 2021?
I'm looking forward to the Air 2S, to be honest with you. I think that for me, I know everybody wants a Mavic 3, right? Everybody's like Mavic 3, Mavic 3. I'm going to wait for the Mavic 3. I stopped waiting for things a long time ago, because if you're going to start waiting on something, you're always going to wait on something. And I think cameras have peaked to a certain point where, for the form factor that we're dealing with, they're only going to get so good. The reality is, it's never the camera that you have, it's the operator behind the lens that is going to make the footage look amazing.
Because the composition is
right.
what makes the key.
You can shoot with a potato, and as long as you know what you're doing, whether it be for composition, lighting, or just how to deal with things in post, your footage is going to look amazing. And it doesn't matter what camera you have. So that's where I'm at. So I'm excited to see what the Mavic Air 2S offers, because it's a good sweet spot, I think. It's not quite a Mavic 2 Pro. It's not as big as the Mavic 2 Pro, but it still offers decent battery life. And if that camera can keep up or come close to the Mavic 2 Pro, I think it's going to be a slam dunk. And I think a lot of people are going to be really happy about it. And for the price, I'm hearing it's going to be sub $1,000. I don't,
which is
sounds
good.
Amazing.
Next stimulus goes guaranteed to that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the reality is DJI is smart, right?
Yeah.
They planned this. They knew a third stimulus check was coming. They knew this. Every major company knew that, hey, there was going to be money, a cash flow coming beyond taxes. So they timed it. Now, reality was they should have timed it a little faster, but they probably didn't want to overlap on other things. But if they would have had it like a week before, I think they would have captured more of a market share, with that. So, but they're smart. It was a very strategic move. Now the leak, though, I don't know if this is the first time where I don't think that was strategic, though. I don't think that's intentional by any means. It's too sloppy.
The leak itself was, this one was on dude that was filming with an iPhone, and the way he presented it, it was like, I looked at it and I was watching it. I was very irritated with him. I had to turn it off because I wanted to literally reach through the screen and grab him. Like, dude, you don't know nothing about drones, so why did you pick it up? He didn't even know how to turn it on. He knew that the app wasn't out for it yet, that he couldn't fly it and stuff or activate it.
That's the thing. I'm not even.
Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so if you don't really have a channel and you don't do this for the exposure or for get the views, why are you doing it? It doesn't make any sense, Well, and it wasn't a good one either, because he just dumped out the box and said, oh, if you guys think I'm lying, this is the box. And it's like, okay, so I could have made a box like that, and I could have glued an air.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean, it was a sloppy leak. Like, and that's the reason why people are like, oh, did you watch the video? I'm like, I seen it. I didn't watch it because I don't give a shit. No, I don't. When I get one in my hands, I'll go through the paces, but I don't watch anybody's videos. Like when release day comes around, I don't watch anybody's videos. Like if I haven't finished filming and doing my videos, I don't watch anybody else's videos, because I don't want to have, like, I don't want to subconsciously, talk
put
about
something out there. Yeah.
Right. Somebody else's.
I had no choice. With the DJI FPV, I got bombarded like on my notifications from all the other drone guys that I'm subscribed to, and I just kept clicking and I just kept watching, and then I ended up with Ken Herring, and his one was like really negative, and then I watched your first one, and you was like kind of like mad at it that it wasn't as agile and nimble as your regular ones that you build, and I saw that too, and then I seen some other people, and then nobody really could figure out what it was for. Everybody expected it to be a freestyle racing drone, which is in this case
I think we were hoping for more. I think part of me was like, DJI is the #1 drone manufacturer in the world, and I felt like they could have did better. Right? I'm not even talking about the build quality. I'm just talking about overall sheer performance, because it's sort of a dog at times, and like people will be like, "Oh no, you're being dramatic. No, shut up." It performs like shit. You just call it what it is. It doesn't perform amazing. So you got to know what you can do with it. And freestyle is not really its forte. It can do it, but
Well, you got to think about if it does crash.
Right. Well,
it's not gonna handle it. You know.
That's the other thing is you don't pick that up and start doing this with that. I mean, you have another drone that you learn on, and then you transition over to this. Where this really excels for me is like long range stuff. Like I love the fact that I can just send it, or like for instance, flying over water. Like if I want to get those cool FPV shots, I know that flying over water with this is almost idiot proof. Is almost idiot proof. And landing is a little harder. I'm not going to lie. Landing it in your hand on a moving boat is scary because these, and I've just gotten to the point where as soon as I grab it, I flip it upside down. I flip it upside down because it kills it immediately. So,
which is weird if you do that because she does rolls, so she's upside down.
But I don't know why. I think it does that because it comes to an abrupt stop. And then you flip it upside down, and your stick is still all the way down. I think it would be different if your stick was up. It probably wouldn't turn off. I don't know. I wouldn't want to try it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I think it's just a great tool to accompany my Autel Evo 2.
For sure.
And it's like I just clocked out of there. I clocked like 2,100 flights with the Autel Evo 2. I pumped out like 3,500 miles, and it's like my workhorse. I use it all the time. And now the batteries are already showing that even a fully charged battery gives me I think 27 minutes. So I gotta look into maybe being able to exchange them with Autel and see how that goes because I have 4 of them and I cycle them so that I make sure that I use one at a time, that the cycles are all regularly with each other. It's just I have flown the Air 2 and then I have got my hands on the Pro, the 2 Pro, and the Zoom as well. And I was after looking because I pulled the footage down. I used my SD cards and I pulled it down. I put it on my computer, and I never came out with a comparison video because I don't own the other drone, and that's why I never did any of that. And I was like, I cannot criticize, even though I have the footage. I cannot criticize the other drone if I don't really constantly use it. And I think that has a lot to do with it, with the constant usage. Because I learned how to deal around certain issues I have with this. The horizon tilt, which I fix mostly in post. Sometimes the wearing off, like when you want to go a certain, and then you just let her hover and she just wears off and she goes, and you're like, where the hell are you going? And you move the stick back, and I learned how to deal with it. And I think every drone has it. After I got the Paradigm Alpha, I didn't even realize that footage that I posted back then. I didn't notice the horizon tilt until somebody makes you aware of it. And then ever since somebody made you aware of it, now you get OCD.
The Evo 1 is the first time I ever encountered like horizon tilt.
Yeah.
And the first video I ever did with the Evo 1 was like, holy shit, this is bad. Like the horizon tilt was horrendous. And they fixed it. But I mean, that's the thing. Like I have full confidence that, the gripes that I have with the FPV drone camera will get resolved. Like they're going to fix it. They know enough right now, like, and they listen to the user feedback. So
I mean, you look at it, it's a 4K 60, but when you look at the size of this camera, already the sensor's small. And it's the same like with the Mini. It is 4K, the Mini 2 has 4K, but the sensor is small. So you can't, I keep telling people that it's like you can't expect a 1-inch sensor quality of a drone that has a sensor that is this small.
But this is very different. This is very this is just very different than camera drones. The problem is, like, you got camera drone operators comparing their camera to the FPV drone camera. It's two different animals. It's designed for designed for something entirely different. So if you don't like that, don't buy it. Like nobody's making you buy that. So just buy something that you feel is going to give you the best, possible image, and go with that. Like, and that's what's cool about DJI is they are putting out so many different products. You have so many different things to choose from. So choose whatever works best for you. And if you don't like DJI, you go with Autel. I mean, there's so many options, really.
So are you still filming with these Sonys?
No, I film. So right now I'm using a Fuji X-T3 for the live stream. And then all my YouTube videos thus far, as of recently, have been filmed on this, or one of these. This is the Lumix S5 from Panasonic. So I switched to Panasonic probably 4 months ago, and I've been really happy with it. Good battery life. I like the color of it, and yeah, I just like all the little features and things that Panasonic offers.
Yeah. So do
So
you still have that series? What is that? Series? The series lens, the anamorphic lens?
the anamorphic lenses, no, I
Yeah.
haven't had those for a long time. Matter of fact, I sent them to a buddy of mine. He does van conversions,
Hmm.
and so he like converts like Sprinter vans into like livable overland vehicles.
Hmm.
So he actually has it now.
Okay. No, because I was thinking of picking one up like that.
They are pretty cool. They are pretty cool lenses, but they're heavy, and you have to either have it on a tripod or have it on a gimbal. Like there's no
Hmm.
two ways about it, because what will tend to happen is, because their focal lengths that they chose to go with are so narrow, there's so much camera shake. And
Oh, for real?
anamorphic is just all over the place. Really is.
Yeah, then you're gonna see the streaks and yeah, okay,
Yeah,
got it.
it's bad. It's bad.
All right. Well, I forgot. I had another question. I forgot what I wanted to ask. It's just I'm so stoked that you're here. I wanted to toast to you to your 40K, your
Thanks, brother.
40K subs. Mm, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to your next videos. My son just came home from school, so I'm just totally stoked that you came, and I hope I'm going to be sending this out
Dude,
tomorrow.
I'm stoked to get it. I know exactly where
So
it's going. I know
yeah,
exactly where
so
it's going.
just to give you another look at it right here.
Dude,
Let me
it looks so badass, dude.
move this out of the way.
I know exactly where it's going to.
So it's I varnished the back, and it's nice 3D. If you can you see the 3D?
Oh yeah, I can see it, brother.
So it's a little bit 3D, but I figured to make up for that other stuff, because I know I promised something and I couldn't live up to it, and I was like, I told this guy sending him beer, and then freaking USPS is ruining the
Dude,
show for me.
that's
I'm
even
like,
better though. That's even
screw
better
this.
than beer. That's gonna last a long time. I know where it's gonna go. It's gonna go right in the backdrop.
That's
I'm gonna replace that sign there. I'm gonna put that thing somewhere else. But I know where it's going.
yeah. So it
I love
it, it took me a while to get it done. That's why when I texted you, I told you, I said I'm working on a project right now, and
Yeah, it
as soon
didn't
as
make
the
sense. I
project is
thought you
done-
were working, and then I thought the project you were working on was because I saw you in Aldrin's video, and I was like, oh, that's what you're doing.
No. All
So-
this video was like that video actually it bumped me up like 100 subs like within a week.
Good for you, man. You deserve
It
it.
was like, oh, like I just came back one day and I got a notification on my, that Tube Buddy thing, and
Yeah.
it said like, oh, you only need like 5 more subscribers towards your channel, and you're gonna like, what? I'm no ways. And then I clicked on it and I was like, oh, I'm almost at 3,000. So I told my wife, babe, I'm almost at 3,000, and she's like, so what does it even mean? I was like, then I'm almost at 3,000 subscribers, you scrub.
Yeah, that's
So-
awesome though, man. I'm telling you.
So the next travel that you do, if you do it to Hawaii, let me know.
Yeah,
You're more than welcome to come.
I'm definitely planning on coming out there. I was actually, it's so funny. My job, we're installing software in Hawaii,
Mhm.
and they're installing software at like all these automotive shops out there, and they passed me up to go. So
What?
yeah, my boss is going, but like he said, he goes, it wouldn't have been a fun trip anyways, because you're gonna wake up at 6 a.m, go install the software, then come home back to your hotel and do data conversions just to do the same thing the next day. He goes, you're not going to see any of Hawaii. He goes, you're going to be tired as hell. When you're not eating, you're going to want to go to sleep. So it's probably for the best I didn't go, because that would have been a miserable experience, and then I would have had to like try to recover from that.
Yeah.
And
just try to make up for it somehow.
Yeah, so it works.
So plus
I'll
Hawaii is
definitely
like
go
really humid. It's like really, it's really humid. Like, I mean, oh no, what am I talking about? Florida is humid. Never mind.
That's super humid here. This is the humidity state, man.
Yeah.
It's the
But
humidity
anyways, if you ever make it to the Big Island, hit me up before. You got my number now.
for sure, man. For sure.
And I'll hook you up. I'll show you around. Anytime I go somewhere, even when I go with my buddies and stuff, I tell them, I say, oh, one day OriginalDoBo gonna be here, and he's gonna be flying right here. He's gonna show me up.
No, I can't wait. I can't wait to actually finally get out there and just, do some exploring. It's such a beautiful place. It's just, I wish it wasn't such a pain in the ass to get to. Hopefully, like I said, with the COVID stuff and people getting vaccines and stuff, hopefully, it'll be a point where travel will start normalizing.
Yeah, over here right now for Hawaii, the rules are that if you do come as a tourist, you got to get tested prior, like
Yeah.
literally a couple days before. When you once you turn out negative, you come here. There's another test at the airport, which is like that rapid testing thing, and
Hmm.
then you have that paperwork you have to fill out, and then after that, you're good. You know, you just got to wear the mask, and that's pretty much it. So
Nice.
unless you test positive in the rapid, then they're gonna quarantine you for 10 days. So,
Not
but
the worst place to be quarantined, I guess.
well, the problem is you're gonna stay in a hotel room all day. You
Yeah,
know.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so and they actually pay attention to that over here now. They have security staff, they have police officers outside of the hotel, and there are dedicated hotels where these people will be brought to. So we have
Wow.
certain hotels that are just shut down for the public. Nobody can rent a room from there, and it's just solely. I guess it's all money because it's all federal funds that goes into it, and then
I
they
didn't want to
just
get started on that because, man, I've got I live in Florida for a reason.
hmm
I've got very very strong opinions on things.
hmm
Uh, I probably piss off a lot of people with my opinions with that, but
Hey,
um,
but that's
that's
what makes you you. That's what it
that's
is.
yeah, yeah. But
So.
yeah, I want to get out there. Like I said, I just wish it wasn't so damn
Yeah,
difficult.
if you do, you know where to find me. You know,
For
and you're
sure,
more than
man.
welcome to come.
Absolutely.
And
Maybe
bring your ohana,
I'll
bring your family.
have to
So
take
we're
a boat. You know, maybe I get a boat.
oh, that's gonna take you like 5 weeks, I think. But you're
Feel
doing
like
good, pretty good on boats. You just gotta get like 20 batteries you take with you so you can fly it all the time. You know,
yeah, yeah.
or one of those container ships and then just stack
Woo.
them up and fly around there. So, but
Ship me like a drone from China. They get
so
here pretty quick
if you
though.
do come, make sure you bring your wife, you bring your kids,
Oh, dude, let me tell
whatever,
you,
you know.
if I go to Hawaii and I don't bring them, I'd never hear the end of it. No,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
if we go over there to the Big Island like in the next year or so, it's gonna be the whole family. Like
Okay.
it's gonna be a family trip. And this
Yeah.
time I can't like because the last family trip I took, I also like snuck in like flying drones and stuff. And the whole reason why I brought them over to the beach and stuff was for this meetup. Dude, let me tell you, that went over like a fart in church, man. That was I yeah, that was
Yeah.
bad. That was really
We're
bad.
literally very family oriented. So if somebody
Good.
comes, we always require them to bring their family, and it's all about ohana over here. So, and I have a
Nice.
small karaoke bar. We can hang out, just yell our souls out, and then the next day go back flying. You know what I mean? So I know
Nice,
some
man.
great spots, and I'll
Cool.
take you around. I'll show you around, you and Zach and whoever else may come.
I've shut down some karaoke bars.
Oh, that's fine. Mine's one not going to shut down. I'll tell you that.
So we're gonna go hard at the karaoke.
That sounds great. Sounds awesome.
All right,
So
brother.
I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you taking time out, and I'm going to
Thanks
send
for
this out
having me, man.
tomorrow. And I'll see you hopefully on the next drone brews that comes out
Yeah,
live
dude.
one of these days. Take a
Probably
break.
like next like week or so.
Yeah, take a breather, and I'll
Exactly.
post in there. I'll be in the chat. I'll be around, and I'll be in your comments and your videos, my man.
I appreciate you always, man.
Yeah, you take it easy. Aloha.
Later, brother. Aloha.
Ladies and gentlemen, Original Dobo on my channel on a Monday special, Monday night special. I had to make it on a Monday because that's the man's time. I appreciate you guys. There were so many guys that came out over here, and I totally dig it. I'm sorry I couldn't address the chat much more, but I just wanted to put all my attention towards him, payback towards the generosity that he always shows. And I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate Batuna and somebody else. I forget already, but you guys bought me some coffee, and I deeply appreciate that. Those funds definitely going to go towards giveaways of you guys. And I always dig it that you guys come, and I totally I love it. I see the likes in the chat. I see the views, and I totally love you guys. Okay, you guys take it easy. I'll see you on the next one. The next video coming up is the update for the Autel Evo 2 2.622, which I'm gonna go right now and finish up the edit, and then it should be up pretty soon. So until then, don't forget, be a nice human. COVID-19 is still out there to get you. Be a nice human. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Aloha, everybody.